You've heard it said, remembering the past so we don't repeat it, which is not the way it happened. Remembering the past allows the past to continue, and not only that, be focused on, which expands it. Remembering the past is step one, being aware. By having a way process to go to that past moment and discovering the seeds, what was planted that grew into that very poisonous, toxic, dangerous situation. Step two. Step three is having the process, the authority, the ability to work with energy, because that's where the past resides, to work with energy in order to neutralize, contain, unplug, pull the seeds totally out and have them turned into extinction energy. That's what stops the past from becoming present and future. So I want to speak to one past that I was shown as I worked with women. Villages here on the planet 600,000 years ago, learning how to be as star beings, energy bodies, walking around in physical earth vehicles, an earth suit. And how do you do that? How do you create a thriving village? How do you create support for yourself and others in this new world? 300,000 years ago, a change happened. Going back to a circle of women, where the women were the ones that designed the villages, put policies in place for cultures that bring benefit. 300,000 years ago, lush gardens, great peace, respectful living. Until an energy of monitoring discovered that in order to have the agenda of domination and control exist on this planet Earth, those in female bodies had to be discouraged, dismantled, attached, targeted. They had to be made vulnerable enough to doubt themselves or to be harmed through violence so that their bodysuits could be devised, owned by those with agendas to dominate, control, and use others. And that awareness began in one village, and as the souls in female bodysuits in that one village encountered beings that would not adhere to their voice, would not allow discernment before entering the village, they invaded that village. The voices of the women in that village went out through the ethers that something was wrong with the plan, that instead of being able to safeguard the village, they were immobilized, they were ignored, something was wrong, and there was great danger. And the message went out through the ethers, through the mycelium of female, the roots within Gaia, and women in other villages knew they had to do something. Being forewarned, what could they do? Traveling back in time in the quest for answers, and answers why women in this present day, 2000s, were fighting one another, were at odds with one another, or even in competition with one another. One of the villages I was taken to in imagination, in the power of energy, was a village in which the women gathered. And I was there first as an observer, and I watched them gather in circle in their sacred place within a grove in which they had discussed and planned and danced and evaluated. And from that energy of leadership and policymaking and design, their village was thriving. And now they were being warned there was danger. So they were very somber in their gathering. And I watched and I listened. And they discussed how they felt they could best get through this horrendous glitch in the plan for Earth. The glitch of women's voices, women's presence being discounted, targeted, traumatized in order for them to be disempowered. This moment, that group only had one answer, and that was we have to do what we have to do to preserve the female mission, the gifts, the abilities that come with that assignment. Alchemy, magic, healing, visioning, dreaming. We have to preserve those gifts until we find the key to stop and prevent these invader types. So each woman decided that they would take one gift into their lineage. They would make it seem innocuous. They would preserve it within their female traditions so that daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter would preserve and protect. So alchemy, changing lead to gold, became cooking, the magic of changing one to another. It became cooking. And it appeared to be innocuous. We all needed to eat, so cooking. But in their tradition, it was magic of changing through the power of energy input. Vision became poetry, for example. So the visions could be put into words that seem innocuous, but preserve the gift. Healing became drumming and chanting, for example. And in that tradition, drumming was taught and preserved and safeguarded. And one by one, each of the women took one of the gifts with the contract that they would preserve that gift, its magic, its power, generation after generation, until such time as it was understood what broke the divine mission for Earth. What was the key that would restore what was broken? And then I saw two women. And then I saw two women come forward. And they said to the sisters, "We are taking no gifts. we are going into the world naked, if you will. We will be so neutralized that we could be seen as one of the invaders, so that we could mimic them while we spy, while we find the key. And our hope and intention is that we find what was broken, how it was broken, how to restore it, and then we will come back and give you that key, and we can then bring those gifts back together as a whole. So here, what had been one beautiful rainbow of gifts was refracted into various colors, each preserved as if innocuous, not even connected to the others. And the mission of the two was to find the key so that those gifts, those various colors, hues, songs to make wholeness happen, could be brought together as a rainbow tribe, back together as one. This was our star family. Our star family 300,000 years ago knew that the rainbow tribe, their village, with all of the huge gifts and blessings that were part of the female assignment and responsibility, could not come together until a key restoring the brokenness of Earth mission was found. Once I had seen what they had planned, I was able to hail them and ask if I could have permission to come into their circle and to bring with me Sophia, the holder of wisdom, indeed the key. And they looked up and they looked at each other. And I said, we come from the future. We come from your sisters who took no keys, who took on the assignment to find the answer. We come back to restore the key, which will allow the colors, the gifts, the songs to come into unity as was intended, into work for the whole as was intended. We are now ready. And they answered me and said, we are too. Welcome, welcome. So I come into that circle with Sophia and the collective that she has with her. And we explained that that beautiful evolutionary path, what some call the original chakras, had been crippled, that the solar plexus, the very, very center of authority voice for discernment, to be heard into the heavens, that voice of authority from female bodies had been unplugged. And therefore their voice went nowhere. That was the problem. And we were here to restore the original and even upgraded evolutionary blueprint and chakra system and initiate that Sophia mission. And they welcomed us with open arms, and we blessed them for what it took to hold firm in the face of violence, targeting, rape, so many things in their descendants. And then Sophia stepped forward and she beckoned her collective. Those souls connected to the female body and mission, each one stood with a sister of that ancient circle. A Sophia sister, original circle sister. And there was embracing and tears, release. And then Sophia said, "We will begin." Sophia cloaked in azure. Each Sophia's sister clothed in azure. A cloak, a cape, a necklace. And each Sophia's sister placed her third eye on the third eye of an ancient circle sister. Blessed her, acknowledged her, released the contract to hide. And then touching the solar plexus right in around the navel of the body of that ancient sister, Sophia declared the activization of the original chakra system power centers, evolutionary steps, awakening and activating that center of solar plexus, Sophia, wisdom. And as that center comes online and lights, energy goes down to the feet in a different way. Gaia is connected in a different way. The heart energy is now awakened under protection and discernment, so that grace of the heart, more powerful than before and totally safe. The energy of the entire power center within each ancient sister awakens her light, brilliant, magnificent. With that Sophia energy like a cocoon within the sixfold cocoon. Any that come towards her to destroy, target, dismantle, disarm, any of domination energies that come toward are immediately moved into extinction of light, a dust of light. Sophia center activated, allows divine women in their mission to stand with the triad of Gaia, Sophia, and Grace. When that happens, we activate the deep six, everything that had been damaged, anything that had controlled, all that storage, all those attachments, remove back to dust. And the psyche within the female mission restored to the glory that it was as leadership, to design, to build, to call for partners, to discern, stewardship, and guardian. That agendas of domination have no possible place in our world. And in that, all ownership devices on the male bodysuit or the male bodysuit star soul are to be identified and moved to extinction of light, extinction of dust. Now the gifts. Drum is being taught to everyone. Cooking and magic is being shared with everyone. The magic of healing, of visioning, of dreaming, of singing, of creating, totally shared and taught. For this is the beginning. of the rainbow tribe, this ancient circle of women bodies. And so it